Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Sunday review of the Bachmann 440 Jupiter. I picked up this unit from my local train store for $50, and it is one of the newer releases, being that they stopped producing this model, I believe, back around 1998. So I believe mine is probably made in the late 90s, somewhere between 95 and 98. And I know this because I don't know if you can see in the middle there, but there's the little U joint, universal joint in the middle there, which connects the motor drive from the tender to the locomotive, is the smaller universal joint, pin type universal joint. Older versions of the 440 by Bachmann have the ball and cup um, drive, which is, from what I've heard, a little bit rougher and not quite as refined as this one. So here's a close-up of the locomotive and tender. All the pickup occurs on the tender. There's no pickup at all on the locomotive itself on the front. Mine has three of the four original traction tires intact and in good condition, so I'll show you in a few minutes that it's still a great puller. It's a surprisingly good puller for what it is. So there's no motor in the front of the locomotive. The motor is in the tender, and the power gets transferred through that universal joint up to the gearing and the locomotive itself. So there we go. Mine is in surprisingly good condition for $50. You see these commonly on eBay somewhere between $80 to $100, and they're just not worth that, especially being that I'm not going to purchase a locomotive this iffy, um, for that kind of price range, not actually seeing how it runs. The used stuff at my local train store, they have a test track. I'm able to test everything out before I purchase, so that's pretty nice of them. And so we're hooked up to four older, coaches. My 440 came with a knuckle coupler, and these coaches have Rapido. I converted one end of these coaches to a knuckle. So let me show you how she runs. Basically, I'm going to tell you straight off the bat that my outer loop is the 12 plus inch radius curves. And what happens with this thing, it runs great on the 12 inch. Totally smooth, no funny noises or resistance or anything. But the smaller you go on the radius, the more that universal joint the more of an angle that universal joint in the middle there between the tender and the locomotive it has to pull off. So I've ran this locomotive on my smaller 2x2 foot desert layout that has the 9 3/4 inch radius, and you can hear it. It runs okay, but you can hear the mechanical resistance of the U joint. So once you get to the 11 inch on the inside here, it runs okay. It's still very usable. You're not hearing that resistance. But once you get to, this is 9 and something inch right here on the inner one, you it's not a very sustainable situation as far as running. So let's get her going here, and I'll show you how she runs. Get you down to a lower speed. I'll show you how slow she can go. There we go. Not bad. That is not bad at all for. That's about as low speed as we can reliably go with this one. But that is not bad at all for a Bachmann 440. These things have a horrible reputation. But apparently I got a good one. Speed it up. Pretty nice, very usable. I really lucked out on finding this one. I just have great timing with my train store visits. Okay, now we'll go in reverse. It's a little more surgy in reverse, I think, because it's pushing up against that universal joint instead of pulling it. But it still works great. So, when it comes to turnouts, let's go forward again. The problem here is I have Kato number 6 turnouts, which are in very good condition, and every time I try to reverse through one of these turnouts, the rear truck on the tender derails. Goes fine forward through the turnouts either direction, but when I try and back into this turnout or back into this turnout, the tender derails. So it's not a big deal for what it is. I'm perfectly happy just running it like this. I'm considering the poor reputation these have for being runners, I'm totally satisfied just running it like this on the simple loop. It's a very rare thing. I'm not able to find a Atlas 440, so this is probably as good as I'm going to get for now. Alright guys, thanks for watching the vid on the Bachmann 440, and I'm hanging in there. We got the Hillary outside right now. The backyard's kind of flooding. The pavers are all submerged right now, but everything is going to be okay. Alright guys, stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching.